Hello and welcome. I'm Sarah Schweppe, and I'm an essence coach who supports divorced women to step into their power so that they can create the soulful, conscious love that their hearts desire. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about the drama triangle. Maybe you've heard about this before. Maybe you haven't. It is what happens anytime we're in conflict. Basically, if we go into reactive brain below the line into a negative emotion, we assume a position on the drama triangle. Unless, of course, we go below the line, we presence with those feelings and we move through them, then we just come back into our essence. But if not, if we get stuck there, anytime we don't feel good, we're assuming a position on the drama triangle. Now, the drama triangle was created by Stephen Cartman in the 60s or 70s, and he termed the three roles in the drama triangle: the rescuer, the perpetrator, and the victim. Gay and Katie Hendricks took those roles. They changed them to the victim, the villain, and the hero. And my mentor, Julie Colwell, one of her favorite ways to talk about the drama triangle is with the positions of the meanie, the genie, and the weenie. So you could choose any of those, whatever feels best. I tend to use victim, villain, and hero. But I wanted to talk about this today because I'd heard about this years and years ago. I had learned about it from a therapist that I was working with at the time. So I knew about it, but what I didn't know was that my energy had everything to do with being stuck on the drama triangle. All this came about wanting to talk about the drama triangle because my partner Zach and I got a puppy on a whim on Christmas Eve. And her name is Lula. I'm actually dog sitting for another dog right now. Otherwise, I would show you a little picture of her. I'd pull her up. So we got Lula on a whim. We hadn't really talked about it or prepared for it. And she is the sweetest, cutest, of course. Who doesn't think their puppy's the cutest and the sweetest little puppy ever? And she did all the puppy things. She was 10 weeks when we got her. She was biting and chewing and peeing and pooping, and lots of things were happening, right? Something will always happen in life. And lots of things were happening and lots of feelings were coming up. And often I wasn't having those feelings. Now, I historically, in this relationship, have not really landed too much in the hero role when we're in conflict. I landed more in power down and the victim position. And before we got Lula, it was like Zach and I had hit this really calm, grounded place. Like we've been living together for a year, and it was like we just had settled in. Things felt good, like we were in consistent connection. We were easily moving through conflict and density, really, in my opinion, doing quite a good job of taking responsibility for our own feelings. So I guess we wanted to level up with the new challenge by getting a puppy, because when we got Lula, it was like we switched the roles that we play in conflict. And I switched into an old role that I am very familiar with. It is the role that I predominantly landed in my previous relationships, called the hero. And Zach was landing in more, I was seeing him as a villain. He was seeing himself as a victim. And so I was a bit shocked because I had spent a lot of time after my divorce really diving into my hero and understanding it, clearing out a lot of the energy that it helped to keep at bay. So not that I totally thought it was gone, but I was a bit shocked at how quickly it came back in and how hard it was to see. Because while it was stressful having a puppy, and probably the fact that we didn't really totally puppy-proof our house for quite some time, like we just didn't get all the things in place, probably added to the chaos, having to worry about things she was chewing when we could have put gates up. We eventually did get gates, and it made it a little bit easier. But so I went into the cool, calm, collected mode, and I saw Zach having big feelings, getting frustrated, started to unconsciously view him as somebody who needed my help. I, of course, saw Lula as the victim when Zach would get upset, that I needed to rescue her from him because he was having big feelings. The hero, what I realized at some point was that, one, we talk about power over at the Evolutionary Power Institute. I learned about this from Julie Colwell. And power down, right? Anytime we're in conflict and we're on the drama triangle, we're also assuming one of those positions, power over, power under. The hero is a sneaky power over move because it doesn't look villainous at first until, of course, the hero gets tired and then my villain kicks in. Why aren't you listening to me? You aren't doing what you're supposed to do. It starts off very nice and loving and hard to see. And not only hard for other people to see, but hard for me to see because I don't feel that bad. Because when I'm in the hero position, I'm in a more prideful place, right? Like I'm either consciously or unconsciously thinking that I know best. I'm seeing other people as less than me, that they really can't do as good as I can do. So I'm in pride, which energetically, I don't have a copy of the inner map on me, but if you think about the inner map, which is basically a handful of emotions that are calibrated energetically, at the middle, we've got the line. Below the line is all the negative feelings. Above the line is all the positive feelings. Negative, not because they're bad, just because they drain our energy. Positive, not because they're better, although they feel better to me, but because they are life-giving. They give us energy. Pride is right at the top below the line. It's the most energized negative emotion. It doesn't feel all that bad. So the more I was anchored in pride, the more Zach was like flailing. And the more we fueled this cycle of, for Zach, I was probably like looking like the controlling one. But for me, I'm like, you're not managing it, so I have to step in. So we're playing this out. All the while, for me, my hero was keeping me out of this deep-seated old fear that's very familiar to me because growing up, I was the oldest. I grew up in a home where there was active alcoholism. My mom is now sober now. She's been sober for quite some time. At the time, when I was a teenager, I took on this idea that I was responsible for everyone, that I could get my mom to stop drinking. If she wasn't drinking, I could prevent her from drinking. I saw myself as being very powerful in that way. And what I wasn't feeling was this big fear that like people were going to die, that it was my job to save them. And this old fear was coming up with Lula, with the puppy. Oh my God, here's this little being we have to keep alive and it's my job and nobody else can do it. There's also some sadness in there, like the loss of me and all of that and the loss of what I wanted because I had become so outlooped way back then. And also for much of my life of having to notice other people and what they need because as long as I'm in my hero role, which is there to keep me out of old fear, I required people who needed my help. So here I was with a new puppy replaying this old pattern with Zach and with Lula. And I think what I wanted to share today that I didn't get when I first learned about the drama triangle was that the way through it is not to think myself through, not to just recognize it, although that is super helpful and the first step, but I have to actually feel the feelings that my hero or my whatever position I'm in on the drama triangle is keeping at bay. And how do I know what the feelings are? Not with my mind, but with my body. I notice the sensations that I'm feeling. So for me, fear is often in my belly, butterflies, I might have a knot in my stomach. So that's what's going to tune you into the feelings you're not feeling. Now, if you are noticing that you're in a hero position and you're like, I'm not having feelings, I get it. Because when I'm anchored in pride, it's such a good way for me to not feel the fear, to not notice it, which also makes sense evolutionarily speaking, because we need hierarchy, we need power over, power under in emergencies, right? We need somebody to come in and say, go here. I don't want that power over position to be noticing their fear because they're helping us stay alive. So just to give yourself some grace and to understand what we're working with here. I think this is all of us, all humans, all mammals. And if you sense that, okay, you are on the drama triangle, even though you don't feel that bad, really just giving yourself a minute to tune in. It could be the tiniest little butterfly in your stomach. But as you begin to notice that, you might see that it gets bigger and that you do have some fear, maybe even some heaviness in your chest, some sadness. So today, if you are finding yourself anchored on the drama triangle, I get it. We all do this. It is what happens when we get stuck in conflict. So to give yourself some love and grace, and yay for being here and for getting to this point in the video, my toss to you would be to then notice, what are you feeling in your body? Can you move that energy through? And once you do, what feels different? In my experience, when I do that, I hop off the drama triangle. I'm no longer seeing my partner as the victim or the villain or whomever I'm on the drama triangle with. I've now shifted into my essence where I'm in power with. I see you as my equal. I see myself as a capable whole human and others and life as well. All right, let me know what you think about this. Where are you getting stuck on the drama triangle? What questions do you have? I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.